Welcome to DRX, Guide to MedSync and Adherence Packaging. Let's start with our patient. In order to set a patient up for MedSync, we must first do a couple of things. We'll click on the Edit button, and we'll first select a sync date. We'll say she's due today. We'll then select a sync interval. How often do we want this patient's meds to show up on our list? In this case, we will choose 28 days. Now click Save. This adds the patient to our MedSync queue, although we have nothing on her list yet. We can go to the sync queue from our bar here and either click or press QS. We can now search for our patient, Mrs. Smith, and see that she is due for MedSync today. We can click on her name to pull up her profile. We can see how far along we are here via this completion status marker. We can see the patient's phone number and click it if we need to call them. We can see if they are a blister pack patient or not, what facility they are in, if one is assigned, what city they are in, and their method of delivery, along with any comments we may need. Also, conveniently from the sync queue, we can print a packing list, which will include a list of all medications currently in workflow. We can print a worksheet, which is a list of medications to be filled for the patient, useful for the technicians filling the medications. And we can print a MAR, useful for adherence packaging. To mark our patient for adherence packaging, or blister packs, we will click on the Edit button from the patient profile. We will check this packer marker, and we will want to add a facility. This serves two purposes. The first being organizational, as certain facilities may require certain packaging. The second being that it allows us to pick a MAR template. In our case, we will be using Omnicell. We will click Save, and Mrs. Smith is now ready for blister packs. Now, Mrs. Smith showing up on our sync queue is good, but we will need to know what medications that she actually needs. Right now, when we go to her sync list, we have nothing. To add a medication to Mrs. Smith's sync list, we will simply select it and select sync. We may also select multiple medications at a time. In this case, we want all of her medications to be on her sync list. To remove a medication that a patient may no longer be on, from the sync list, we can highlight it and click on Delete. For MedSync, we now have our list of medications that the patient will need. However, if we plan to do adherence packaging, we have a couple more steps we may want to consider. The first will be to set pack location, as in what time of day do we want our patient to take our medications. In this case, we may want her to take her 1 aspirin in the morning. These directions say to take the medication in the evening, and we will tell her to take it in the evening. This medication is marked as needed. Rather than include it in the blister pack, we may choose to mark it to be dispensed when requested. We will not give it a pack location. This vitamin D is to be taken once a week. In this case, we will still mark it as 1 in the morning, but we will mark it for administration on Sunday. We also have other options, such as weekly on Sunday, or Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. This allows for a greater degree of customization. Ozempic is an injectable medication and will not be included in the blister pack, but will still be required every 28 days. We don't want this to show up on the MAR of medications included in the pack, so we will simply uncheck it. This lets us know that it should be filled every month, but it is not a medication to be in the pack. Metformin is to be taken twice daily. we may want to pick morning and evening. And our last medication is hydrochlorothiazide, to be taken as 2 tablets by mouth every day. Our sync list is complete. To fill these medications, including all of the medications on her sync list, we can simply highlight all of them and click the fill button. DRX will try and find refills for these medications, which we can then fill. Notice how all of the medications on her sync list were filled. The lisinopril, which we removed from her list, was not. When we add medications to a sync list, a comment is automatically generated. This leaves a trail so that we can tell when and potentially why a medication was added or removed. It may be useful to edit these comments and explain them. It may also be useful to add these comments to the MAR so that they can be seen from the worksheet when working on the blister packs. Sync Queue also offers organization regarding the completion status of adherence packaging. Right now, Mrs. Smith is 0% complete. This is a useful tool for communicating between employees as far as how far along a pack is. The first step being contacting the patient for delivery date, printing the labels, making sure drugs are in stock, and marking it as ready for check. Note that when we've contacted a patient for delivery date, the sync date becomes locked. Each step will further the completion status. The step ready for check will automatically set the completion status to 100%. We can now generate the PDF for the MAR. If we had medication images available, they would be here. And our Omnicell pack will automatically detect that only mornings and evenings are necessary. We'll automatically mark special packs, such as this once weekly vitamin D, and include a description of what is in each cell.